The Merry Gloster by Rudyard Kipling. I've paid for your sickest fancies. I've humoured your crackedest whim. Dick, it's your daddy, dying. You've got to listen to him. Good for a fortnight, am I? The doctor told you? He lied. I shall go under by morning, and put that nurse outside. Never seen death yet, Dickie? Well, now is your time to learn, and you'll wish you held my record before it comes to your turn. Not counting the line and the foundry, the yards and the village, too. I've made myself and a million, but I'm damned if I made you. Master at 22, and married at 23, 10,000 men on the payroll, and 40 freighters at sea. 50 years between 'em, and every year of it fight, and now I'm Sir Anthony Gloster, dying, a baronite, for I lunched with his Royal Ighness. What was it the papers had? Not least of our merchant princes. Dickie, that's me, your dad. I didn't begin with askings. I took my job and I stuck. And I took the chances they wouldn't, and now they're calling it luck. Lord, what boats I've handled, rotten and leaky and old. Ran 'em, or opened the bilgecock, precisely as I was told. Grub that you'd bind you crazy, and cruise that you'd turn you gray, and a big fat lump of insurance to cover the risk on the way. The others they dursn't do it. They said they valued their life. They've served me since as skippers. I went, and I took my wife. Over the world I drove 'em. Married at 23, and your mother saving the money and making a man of me. I was content to be master, but she said there was better behind. She took the chances I wouldn't, and I followed your mother blind. She egged me to borrow the money, and she helped me to clear the loan, when we bought half shares in a cheap and hoisted a flag of our own. Patching and coaling on credit, and living the Lord knew how. We started the Red Ox freighters. We've 8 and 30 now. And those were the days of clippers, and the freights were clipper freights, and we knew we were making our fortune, but she died in Macassar Straits, by the little Paternosters, as you come to the Union Bank, and we dropped her in 14 fathom. I pricked it off where she sank. Owners we were, full owners, and the boat was christened for her, and she died in the Merry Gloster. My heart, how young we were! So I went on a spree round Java and well nigh ran her ashore. But your mother came and warned me and I wouldn't lick her no more. Strict I stuck to my business, afraid to stop or I'd think, saving the money, she warned me, and letting the other men drink. And I met McCullough in London. I'd turned 500 then. And, 'tween us we started the Foundry, 3 forges and 20 men. Cheap repairs for the cheap uns. It paid, and the business grew, for I bought me a steam lathe patent, and that was a gold mine too. Cheaper to build 'em than buy 'em, I said. But McCullough he shied, and we wasted a year in talking before we moved to the Clyde. And the lines were all beginning, and we all of us started fair, building our engines like houses and staying the boilers square. But McCullough, wanted cabins with marble and maple and all, and Brussels and Utrecht velvet, and baths and a social hall, and pipes for closets all over, and cutting the frames too light. But McCullough he died in the 60s, and, well, I'm dying tonight. I knew what was coming. When we bid on the Byfleet's keel, they piddled and piffled with iron. I'd given my orders for steel in the first expansions. It paid, I tell you, it paid, when we came with our 9-knot freighters and collared the long-run trade. And they asked me how I did it, and I gave 'em the scripture text, you keep your light so shining a little in front o' the next. They copied all they could follow, but they couldn't copy my mind, and I left 'em sweating and stealing a year and a half behind. Then came the armor contracts, but that was McCullough's side. He was always best in the Foundry, but better, perhaps, he died. I went through his private papers. The notes was plainer than print. And I'm no fool to finish if a man'll give me a hint. I remember his widow was angry, so I saw what the drawings meant, and I started the 6-inch rollers, and it paid me 60%, 60% with failures, and more than twice we could do, and $250,000 to credit, and I saved it all for you. I thought, it doesn't matter. You seem to favor your ma. but you're nearer 40 than 30, and I know the kind you are. Horror and Trinity College. I ought to sent you to sea, but I stood you in education. And what have you done for me? The things I knew was proper you wouldn't thank me to give, and the things I knew was rotten you said was the way to live. For you muddled with books and pictures, and china and etchings and fans, and your rooms at college was beastly, more like a whore's than a man's, till you married that thin-flanked woman, as white and as stale as a bone, and she gave you your social nonsense. But where's that kid o' your own? I've seen your carriages blocking the half o' the Cromwell Road, but never the doctor's brougham to help the missus unload. So there isn't even a grandchild, and the Gloster family's done. Not like your mother, she isn't. She carried her freight each run, but they died, the poor little beggars. At sea she had they died. Only you, and you stood it. You haven't stood much beside. Weak, a liar, and idle, and mean as a collier's whelp nosing for scraps in the galley. No help, my son was no help. So he gets 300,000 in trust and the interest paid. I wouldn't give it you, Dickie, you see, I made it in trade. You're saved from soiling your fingers, and if you have no child, it all comes back to the business. Gad, won't your wife be wild? Calls and calls in her carriage, her handkerchief up to her eye. Daddy, dear daddy's dyin', and doing her best to cry. Grateful? Oh, yes, I'm grateful, but keep her away from here. Your mother, you'd never stood, and, anyhow, women are queer. There's women will say I've married a second time. Not quite, but give poor Aggie 100, and tell her your lawyers'll fight. She was the best o' the boiling, you'll meet her before it ends. I'm in for a row with the mother, I'll leave you settle my friends. For a man he must go with a woman, which women don't understand, or the sort that say they can see it they aren't the marrying brand. But I wanted to speak o' your mother, that's Lady Gloster still. I'm going to up and see her, without it's hurting the will. Here, take your hand off the bell pull. 5,000's waiting for you, if you'll only listen a minute, and do as I bid you do. They'll try to prove me crazy, and, if you bungle, they can. And I've only you to trust to. Oh God, why ain't he a man? There's some waste money on marbles, the same as McCullough tried. Marbles and mausoleums, but I call that sinful pride. There's some ship bodies for burial, we've carried 'em, soldered and packed. Down in their wills they wrote it, and nobody called them cracked. But me, I've too much money, and people might. All my fault. It come o' hoping for grandsons and buying that walk-in vault. I'm sick o' the old damn business. I'm going back where I came. Dick, you're the son o' my body, and you'll take charge o' the same. I want to lie by your mother, 10,000 mile away, and they'll want to send me to Woking, and that's where you'll earn your pay. I've thought it out on the quiet, the same as it ought to be done, quiet, and decent, and proper, and here's your orders, my son. You know the line? You don't, though. You write to the board, and tell your father's death has upset you and you're goin' to cruise for a spell, and you'd like the Mary Gloster. I've held her ready for this. They'll put her in working order and you'll take her out as she is. Yes, it was money idle when I patched her and put her aside. Thank God, I can pay for my fancies. The boat where your mother died, by the little Paternosters, as you come to the Union Bank. We dropped her, I think I told you, and I pricked it off where she sank. Tiny she looked on the grating, that oily, treacly sea. 118 east, remember, and south just 3. Easy bearings to carry, 3 south, 3 to the dot. But I gave Mandrew a copy in case of dying, or not. And so you'll write to Mandrew, he's chief of the Maori line. They'll give him leave, if you ask 'em and say it's business o' mine. I built 3 boats for the mayoress, and very well pleased they were, and I've known Mac since the 50s, and Mac knew me, and her. After the first stroke warned me I sent him the money to keep against the time you'd claim it, committin' your dad to the deep. For you are the son o' my body. And Mac was my oldest friend. I've never asked, I am to dinner, but he'll see it out to the end. Stiff-necked Glasgow beggar. I've heard he's prayed for my soul, but he couldn't lie if you paid him, and he'd starve before he stole. He'll take the Mary in ballast, you'll find her a lively ship, and you'll take Sir Anthony Gloster, that goes on, his wedding trip, lashed in our old deck cabin with all 3 portholes wide, the kick o' the screw beneath him and the round blue seas outside. Sir Anthony Gloster's carriage, our house flag flyin' free, 10,000 men on the payroll and 40 freighters at sea. He made himself and a million, but this world is a fleetin' show, and he'll go to the wife of his bosom the same as he ought to go, by the heel of the paternosters. There isn't a chance to mistake, and Mac'll pay you the money as soon as the bubbles break. 5,000 for 6 weeks cruising, the staunchest freighter afloat, and Mac he'll give you your bonus the minute I'm out o' the boat. He'll take you round to Macassar, and you'll come back alone. He knows what I want o' the Mary. I'll do what I please with my own. Your mother, you'd call it wasteful, but I've 37 more. I'll come in my private carriage and bid it wait at the door. ... For my son, was never a credit. Muddled with books and art, and lived on Sir Anthony's money, and broke Sir Anthony's heart. There isn't even a grandchild, and the Gloster family's done. The only one you left me, oh mother, the only one. Horror in Trinity College, me slavin' early and late, and he thinks I'm dying crazy, and you're in Macassar straight. Flesh o' my flesh, my dearie, forever and ever amen. That first stroke come for a warning. I ought to ha gone to you then, but cheap repairs for a cheap the doctor said I'd do. Mary, why didn't you warn me? I've always heeded to you, except, I know, about women, but you are a spirit now. And, wife, they was only women, and I was a man. That's how, and, a man, must go with a woman, as you could not understand. But I never talked 'em secrets. I paid 'em out o' hand. Thank God, I can pay for my fancies. Now what's 5,000 to me, for a berth off the paternosters in the haven where I would be? I believe in the resurrection, if I read my Bible plain, but I wouldn't trust 'em at walkin', we're safer at sea again. For the heart it shall go with the treasure, go down to the sea in ships. I'm sick of the hired women, I'll kiss my girl on her lips. I'll be content with my fountain, I'll drink from my own well, and the wife of my youth shall charm me, and the rest can go to hell. Dickie, he will, that's certain. I'll lie in our stand-in bed, and Mac'll take her in ballast, and she trims best by the head. Down by the head and sinkin', her fires are drawn and cold, and the water's splashin' hollow on the skin of the empty hold, churning and choking and chuckling, quiet and scummy and dark, full to her lower hatches and rissin' steady. Hark! That was the after bulkhead. She's flooded from stem to stern. Never seen death yet, Dickie? Well, now is your time to learn.